All right, I think we should be live. If somebody could check for me. Yep, I think we should be good on YouTube. Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much, Isaac. Thank you so much. Pull up the chat here. Perfect. All right, welcome everybody. Another week of Zooms, another week of case studies, another week of reps. I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you so much for coming on here and supporting the channel. But other than that, let's go ahead and get started. Last week was a tradeless week for me, but this week was I'm basically another tradeless week, not necessarily because I wasn't on the charts, but one of the main opportunities I was looking for this week just did not hit my entry. And we'll go ahead and cover that. And then I was looking at another scenario, but I wasn't able to get in on time. So let's go ahead and start with that one first. I believe this was on Wednesday. 1 second. All right, the scenario here was essentially a LGC model, and I will go ahead and show you guys a little bit more. This is on the 25th, right? But once I had already looked into the trade, it was already within we had already engulfed. So I'm like, you know what? There's really no point in chasing it, even though I probably could have chased it. But the scenario, excuse me, the scenario itself, right, came from understanding that we were externally bullish, right? Externally bullish, CBOS. Therefore, CBOS, once that is solidified or the pullback low is solidified, then we are anticipating for this high to be ran, right? So we are within this price range, and it's either we're going to cause a structural disruption or maybe another potential sweep, or right, we're going to continue external structure and look for the previous high, right? So that's kind of like the easiest way for me to kind of get some type of bias for the day. What is the external structure? Where are we in terms of, have we solidified? Have we created an external high or external low, right? Has a pullback low been created, low or high, right? And then depending on that type of reaction, we can then look for a move into the upside, because I did see a couple of members, right? Let me move this over here. I did see a couple of members, right? Look for an opportunity here, look for an opportunity here, right? Which in my opinion is, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Obviously we have a CBOS, right? Internally, this is bearish, another CBOS, high, low, retracement, unwillingness. Once that breaks, okay, you have an internal structural range, right? And you can play either a turbulence point, right? Or maybe you can argue that there's an internal structural disruption here, right? So there is an opportunity here, right? Because it makes sense since we are looking at a CBOS, so we are looking to continue external highs, or looking to run external highs, sorry. But this is a problem that I see with trading, and this is a problem that I saw when I first started looking at S&P/NAS, and it's when you're trading a market that is at all-time highs. It is a bit difficult to manage. So it's like whenever he asked me, how do you manage targets from a POV of a asset or pair that is at all-time highs? Well, you just kind of have to focus on waiting for a transition, looking for an external target. And if that does not work, maybe you're getting prepared for an external pullback, maybe, right? Or maybe we're looking to sweep more liquidity before we continue higher, right? So because we don't know which of those will be the case, we just have to only focus on external targets, right? That's why you guys know that I like to look at my external, let's say from an M5, no higher than M15. All right, and then I look for internal transitions, look for the internal narrative so I can see whether we're going to pursue lows or highs. All right, so excuse me. Right, any questions in terms of that before we get to the actual execution? Any questions, concerns? Nope, guess we'll move on. But yeah, I did see some people taking opportunities here, and here, which I am completely not against. So if I was to have taken this and taken a loss, I'm okay with that. That's fine. Because yes, in hindsight, we can argue, right, that this is a break of structure, high, low, retracement. We can say that in hindsight, but at the moment, if I was to take this trade at the moment right now, this looks still bullish. So I'm completely okay with taking some type of loss there, right? So my scenario came after, right, the failure of the continuation, right? If I wanted to buy here, it would have needed to be here, right? Anywhere within a turbulence point, maybe here or here. The reason why, right, is because I don't like to chase things. So once I see the CBOS continuation, if my entry is here, I can now move my stop here, right? That's why I do my trailed stop protocol. So if I was to have taken a position here, and this is to then fail, then at least I get my trailed stop hit, right? That's why I like the CBOS continuation, the creation of an LG internal structural range that will give me, right, potential, or pretty much the point of it is to lock in profit essentially. So my scenario though came after, right, this failure, right? This failure. Here we can go ahead and zoom in a little bit more. Right, so the scenario essentially came after this break. Why is this break important? Because that break signifies that we have, right, the external low, external high, pullback low, and we have a sign of unwillingness here after, right, a solidified point has been broken. That means that we are unwilling to continue higher. So if we're unwilling to continue higher, right, and we cannot pursue highs, then, right, we will pursue for lows. So now I just need an excuse to enter, right? But unfortunately, I just wasn't able to get in this. But my scenario here, right, is an internal OFD. We can go ahead and show you guys here. Right, so we know that there's a bearish impulse down. We know there's an internal range here, right? Let's see, actually. Please don't unmute yourselves, guys. If you have a question, just comment in the chat. But my scenario, right, internal range here, the internal micro range, I'm sorry, right, is still bearish here. So once we have the internal break and we have order flow disruption, why do I say order flow disruption? Because we have the reaction of the POI and then the break of the POI, which creates an internal range, right? But I will say I might have made a bit of a mistake here. I should have put my invalidation here, right? Because I put my invalidation at the beginning of the internal range, or the internal micro range, sorry. But really, I should be putting my SL at the high of the reaction that then caused the OFD, right? So just something very minor, but it could make a difference because I just don't want to get my stop hit and then have something run in my favorite direction, right? That just shows to me either a bad SL placement, maybe no model was used, right? Or just plain out unlucky. But I don't want to go based on plain out unlucky. So I would like to, be a bit more conservative because you guys know I'd rather just get in the trade, set proper perimeters, and then, wait for the win or wait for the loss rather than trying to be perfect, looking for internal order flow, trying to be perfect, right? Trying to be perfect. So that is that for this scenario. Any questions, concerns with this scenario? Yes, no?
Alfredo,
Mm-hmm.
can you put the old chart, please?
This one?
Thanks. Can I wait? Why do you take this point and not this point?
because, good question, let me see. So let's say I'm waiting for a reaction right here. This internal low, this is a break of structure that then leads to a break of structure here. So yes, you're right. I really could use this point because there is another break of structure using it here, right? And then there is another BOS here. So there is another structural point here and here. So really, you're right. I use this point. I just like this. The reason why I pointed out this high is because if we were to go to like an M5, then that's probably the low that'll be present. Let me show you. Because I'm assuming that is the external low, right? Even if we go to like an M15, right? This would be an external low. You can argue this is another external low too. Or I mean internal low, sorry. Right, so no, you're right. There really is no preference. That was just there really is no right answer. That is just my preference.
No problem
Yeah,
if I use the other point,
this one.
or yes, or this
I
one.
would use this one. I would use this one because there is a break. Right, I go based on
Oh,
solidified points. There's a break here, and there's a net break that solidifies the low, right? And then you can also argue here, right? And an internal break, so you can argue that is a solidified point too. So I just wanted
oh,
to make sure I use the entire buy to sell, right? Like I said, I
yeah.
don't want to be perfect. I'd rather just get the whole region.
This is to the buy to sell, and this is the reaction, right?
Yeah, yeah. The
Oh,
internal
okay.
reaction, so then I can pursue this low.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Mm. Okay, and then let's go ahead and move on to the second scenario. All right, this one actually, it just did not hit my price point. What I was looking at the time was here, obviously internally bearish. There's actually an external point of interest here. I believe it's an M30 POI. Based on the M30 POI, excuse me, we do have, right, our internal range here. We then have the continuation break of structure, and we then have a reaction. The reaction then breaking through here, right, gives me, right, an internal range, aka a structural disruption, right, because the pullback high is solidified and then broken through. So because that is the case, you can then find some type of scenario here, and you can obviously have some type of buy, invalidation, take profit. That's definitely a workable scenario. But more importantly, I thought that this dictated the narrative that we were going to, that we were going to pursue, right? At the bare minimum, equal highs. But more importantly, I thought we were going to look for a previous high, right? Because obviously if there's a structural disruption here, then we are unwilling to continue lower. So I'm thinking we could go a little bit higher, right? And if that is the case, right, then based on an internal order flow disruption, then as long as we come back to fill an efficiency, then I think that it makes sense to at least at the bare minimum come back to equal highs. I'm not necessarily wanting, right, to take this all the way, even though I still think that's possible. So I thought this was an SD plus the order flow disruption internally, and I was just looking for an inefficiency fill into the upside, right, which gave me a proper invalidation. But unfortunately, the reaction was given before my entry. If you want to see how that happened or what happened exactly, we only bounced off of the external structure and then we gave an internal reaction. So once we have the internal reaction before my point of interest, I am kind of not interested anymore, right? Because if we were to have the reaction before my POI is to be hit, and then we are to tap the POI, then that by default means that you are internally bearish. So I would need some type of transition to then justify another move into the upside. That's why I don't pursue things after there's a reaction, right? Just because the probability diminishes, and more than likely I've seen that kind of just give me losses. So I just said, you know what? The reaction is already in place, no trade, right? So any questions, concerns with this? And just to also add on to that, it ended up being a loss, right? So just proves my point here. See, right? Internal reaction, and then we break structure, and then ended up being a loss. So it is what it is. It just ended up reacting from this M5 POI and then giving us brand new lows. So just wrong for the day. Yeah, it's one of those rules that's it's definitely stuck on over the years. If there's, I'm trying to catch the reaction, right, of the model that is being played out. I'm not just trying to guess a POI, if that makes sense. Because this is an internal solidified point, right? So my invalidation is always a solidified point, right? So there is a break of structure here or there. So I know that if we come back here and we break, then that's technically an LG. Does that make sense? Cool, cool. Any more questions or concerns before we move on to the case studies? We have quite a bit, so let me know. No questions? Cool. Okay, we can move on. We have quite a bit of case studies, so let me pull these up right now. I think we'll go one at a time here. Okay, so I'm gonna try to fly by these since there's 10. I see direction, internal LGC, external structure. Okay. And then I see the reaction into the POI, into the LGC with SLN invalidation. Cool. Yeah, once I see maybe this internal move, then give a reaction, I would probably move my trail stop here or here too. So that's a good move. And yep, CBOS right here. This is exactly why we use the trail stop protocol. CBOS, continuation, trail stop. Because if we break that, then, you know, you can argue a structural disruption. So the management was good here. See, number 2. Okay, internal range is bullish. Internal LGC. I guess it just didn't tap your entry. Okay, it did tap your entry. Very nice. Another LGC model to the T. They're just really, the only way to move your trailed stop is based on CBOS continuation. So the trailed stop protocol was well done there. There is a model on external structure. So good trade. And if you guys have some case studies, just throw them in the chat and I will get to them once I finish these. Number 3. Okay, this is a break of structure. Potentially a sweep, maybe not a sweep. The only reason why I say that is because liquidity was built, taken, and then the LG. I don't see an internal transition here. So I don't know if there's a model at play. But either way, the invalidation has been set. You can now move your trailed stop. That's good. That's good again. See the trailed stop back into another POI and take profit. Cool. So a great representation of good management. Maybe there's no model at play, but really The most important factor, in my opinion, is if you have the direction right and you have a proper invalidation, then the only way you're going to lose is if you're directionally incorrect at this point, right? If you have a good invalidation, right? If you know what the directional bias is, if you find, right, a good region to play off of, because really you could play off of the entire sell to buy as well, but you chose the internal POI, which is okay, right? But the trailed stop protocol was well done. Okay, externally bullish, internal break, and then a transition here potentially. I could see a potential sweep model here. The reason why I say sweep model is, right, we have a low, right, into that pullback high. We then build up again. We then take liquidity, right, then have an internal transition here. So yeah, I would probably put my stop loss there as well. Right, I do like it. I do like it. I just hope in this scenario, like I want to get in here, if that makes sense. After this break, after we have the reaction, I usually don't like to chase it because, like I said, the invalidation technically still is here. So let's see how this turned out. Perfect. LGC. Okay, perfect. Right. So maybe I wouldn't have taken this position. Maybe I would have missed out on this. Like I said, I would have rather wanted to get in here. But I do like that he used the LGC model that gives an internal range, which gives you, right, a proper invalidation. So that's good. Number 4, number 5. Okay, a bit of an LGC, but potentially could be chasing, right? The only issue with the one thing that I like to do, right, is, right, I like to enter based on the transition, right? And we've mentioned this before because of the entire Wyckoff cycle. We can go ahead and do that. I'll show you guys that one more time. Right, this is why I prefer to trade transitions, and I read the transitions based on models, because we either want to be, right, from bearish to bullish, bullish to bullish, bullish to bearish, or bearish to bearish. But the creation of the impulse comes within the transition, right? So once the transition is done, for example, right, let's say let's say we're here, right, and we potentially see an LGC, right, and then we potentially sell and then lose. I don't like to chase after the impulse, right? It's a bit hard because you just don't know when something will pull back, but you have to know that, like, this is a guarantee. Nothing will go up forever, nothing will go down forever, right? So I'd rather just catch moves when they are created via transitions, via models, and not just try to pursue an LG that's in the external trend, if that makes sense. Because yeah, I could see potential LGC, technically LGC, technically, right? But ended up being a loss because maybe this is the beginning of an external pullback, right? And then maybe we come back into the sell to buy, and then who's to say we don't just continue higher, right? But this here would be a transition from bearish to bullish. Okay, the direction here, I don't like it. There is no direction here because you do have, we don't break highs here, we don't break lows here, we don't break highs again here, we don't break lows again here. So a bit of no man's land. Okay, nice. Where's the execution? Okay, maybe they were backwards. So there was SD, LGC, okay. Justifiable. I see. So what he did here was unwillingness to continue for lows. So you have to pursue highs. So if you find a transition here, and that's good, right? And this was kind of the general idea that I was trying to go with. That scenario that I missed out on was if you either sweep or if you have unwillingness on one side, then you will probably pursue the next side, right? Majority of the time. That's just a liquidity thing. Okay, external bullish, internal sweep, internal transition. And then looking at the LGC, which gives you a proper perimeter, which is good. Could potentially come back into the sell to buy here. But that candle here mitigated the sell to buy, so that's a good general area. Yeah, I guess it just didn't reach all the way. Is what it is, part of the game. We just move on from these. You didn't do anything wrong here, so just move on. Okay, external. Okay, so we have internal bearish structure, continuation break of structure here, right? Unwillingness based on this POI reaction. So once this breaks, that gives you the internal range. That's good. That is good. Okay, short stop 1 because we do have, right, CBOS continuation, so you can move a trailed stop. And this is good. Yeah, right. The only other time I could have moved my stop loss would, or he could have moved the stop loss, was CBOS continuation here. But right after that happened, this would take profit. So this was good. Right, and this shows too, right, the power of understanding CBOS, unwillingness, break, internal range, sell to buy, continuation based on the external bullish. Three more on the side, and then we can move on to the chat. Okay, external bullish. Oh wait, this is already, never mind. This one we already did, I think. Yeah, we already did this. Two more. Ooh, external bullish. I just don't like the high momentum on the bearishness. I don't like that. There is a type of sweep here, right? We take liquidity, then hit an external bottle. Excuse me. Don't like this one. Don't like this one at all. Because, right, we have an unsubstantial new high here. So this does not look convincing to me. I feel like this will continue lower. Okay, it worked out. See, so here, right, at the moment here, I would not have bought, but now that we are here, I think it would make a little bit more sense. This is where I think it would make sense to buy because there is a potential sweep, right, based on the previous high. So once we take more liquidity and then create an external range, maybe now there's a right time for continuation. But who knows, maybe this will probably still lose. Yeah, still lose. So, right, the one thing I didn't like, and this was from the beginning, it was the high momentum here. That kind of throws me off. Like, for example, you realistically want high momentum, low momentum pullback, high momentum impulse, low momentum pullback. But when you have, right, let's say a semi-impulsive bullish move and then a hyper-impulsive pullback move, then this is where it gets a little bit awkward because it takes a lot of effort to reach the previous high. But yeah, I probably would have taken a loss here because that would have thrown me off as well. Okay, last one. External bullish, internal sweep. This is kind of potentially an accumulation model, just to the T. Right, 1, 2, spring test, right? Sign of strength, LPSY, and then, or LPS, sorry, and then coming up to continue higher. I think this looks pretty textbook, in my opinion. build up liquidity, take it, sweep that. We're inside the turbulence point, internal transition. Looks like this looks pretty textbook to me. I wonder if it does work out. Yep, gives you the reaction, CBOS continuation, trailed stop, perfect. And this ended up being the trail stop. Yeah, good management here. Got the reaction we wanted, but did not get the follow through. So good management still. Excuse me. Okay, now we can move on to everything on the chat. Okay, bearish external. LGC. LGC coming back into turbulence point, textbook. This is good. You used a solidified point as your invalidation, because if that breaks, that's technically a potential sign of structural disruption. So this is a good move. Okay, here. So it looks like we have a bullish move to the upside, but we do have order flow disruption. Internal range is created here. That gives you then a delivery. Then you have, no, not an LG, right? You have another high-end pullback, creating a new internal range. And question, why did you wait till here to sell?
Pedro, in the last link is more, I don't know, yeah, it's bearish, but I take this low. And the line, or the orange lines, I don't know the way. This, I take the high and the low, and well, I put this entry here.
So for me, the difference maker here is this high momentum move. It could be, this is M1, maybe it's a M3 engulfing, which would have been a good confirmation. That's why I think that stands out right here, right? The high momentum, meaning there could be an engulfing candle which leaves an efficiency, so that then you could just cover the inefficiency and then continue lower. I think this is very conservative. I really like this. Okay, external bullish, internal transition. Okay, proper invalidation, fair, and take profit. No external target. Yeah, like I said, that's the tough part about trading these super bullish markets. Either way, though, I think it's good. I'm assuming you took this entire sell to buy, if I'm correct. Okay, this is good. This is good. I like it. Okay, technically still bullish. And we are coming back into the sell to buy. CBOS technically as the, maybe, I don't, if you want to argue this is a POI, I don't think this is a POI, if I'm being honest. I don't think this is a POI. Maybe not on this time frame, maybe on a different time frame there is an OFD. And the only other potential OFD could have been this reaction, but we did not have the reaction from there. I mean, this point of interest, sorry, we just didn't have the reaction. So I don't think I would say OFD. Okay, you took it based on the inefficiency of the external. That's good. Trailed stop, CBOS, continuation. Yeah, fair. I agree. Oh, okay, it actually gave a higher reaction. So, yep. So here, right, you have to move your trailed stop, right? CBOS, continuation, trailed stop. Because if this then breaks here, then you have, right, a potential structural disruption, just mainly sign of unwillingness. So you have to read the CBOS, continuation, trailed stop. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Mm-hmm. Okay. Which is fair. Just make sure you use the trail stop protocol. You could either trail stop or you could take partials. Really, there is no correct way to do it. I do like this though. Buy to sell. Came back into the buy to sell. Pretty textbook. Very nice. Once you have the breaks, trailed stop. Let's say you have here CBOS continuation, trailed stop, right? CBOS continuation, trailed stop. Case number 2, okay. See, yep, this is OFD. This is OFD because we have the reaction point of interest. You could even say the whole region here is the point of interest. Once you have the break, you can argue that you have the sell, the buy, right? Use the entire region, right? The sell to buy, and then maybe you could aim for an external point over here. Okay, bearish to bullish transition. This is a CBOS, bro. Get that right? This is a CBOS, right? So we have high, low, CBOS, pullback, solidification, technically SD. You use the sell to buy, which is good. It's just here, I would like, for example, with this transition, I would rather just pursue maybe somewhere here. Maybe there's another internal high here, right? Because it looks like we then had a pullback. So like whenever we have the pullback, there's a very clear transition here. So once there is a transition here, right, then I'm more so likely probably just going to close or just get out of that because you don't know how deep the retracement will go, right? Obviously we didn't get any conservative transition once we went back to being bullish, right? But if we have this transition here, let's say this is a 1 to 5, you're 1 to 3.5 maybe in profit. So you're now risking your 3.5 profit, right, for 1.5 extra profit, which is negative risk to reward. That's why I would rather just close, guarantee the 3R maybe, right? Rather than wait a little bit longer. Because if we are here, we're risking this profit, right? For this, we're risking this confirmed profit or not necessarily realized, but unrealized profit, right? And then still expecting a little bit more. You're kind of just risking it all for a little bit extra. I would just say just guarantee what you can guarantee. Okay, this I don't like at all. If you're taking this transition, this is your target. And then if you're taking this transition, maybe inefficiency, this is your target, right? And then if you're taking this potential transition here, let's say you take maybe something here or the sell to buy, this is your target, right? If you are going, what is this, M15, right? You have to use the appropriate target for the appropriate model that you're using. Internal model, external target. Internal model, external target. Internal model, external target. right? This is because yes, like you can get high risk to reward by scalping a major intraday move, but it's very inefficient. And we've seen that over the years. Not to mention, bro, you're in profit for an entire day, right? And then you come back on the next day and you just lost all of your profit. So just guarantee what you can guarantee, bro. Internal model, external target. Internal model, external target. Internal model, external target. Right? These wins, these small wins accumulate to become a lot over time. All right, try to send these in order, bro. Don't send them all together. Try to put these like aligned. I don't know how many. I don't know if I'm missing any charts. Multiple time frame analysis messes me up. Yeah, bro. Then just stick to the type of trader that you are. If you're a scalper, focus on scalp time frames. If you're a swinger, focus on swing time frames. Like, the trading is hard enough, bro. It's hard enough. I wouldn't say this is no man's land yet, because this is not solidified technically. Just because we have a big impulse, I wouldn't say no man's land just yet. Okay. CBOS, engulfing move. Okay. I would have, if I was you, bro, I probably would have just gone after the engulfing, just because the engulfing shows volume, and then once you have the reaction, have a chart stop here. But the one thing I don't like is that this is still technically bullish, right? Excuse me. So if I wanted to be bearish here, and if we're focused on this internal move or internal direction, right? I think you're nitpicking here because there's CBOS here, 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 here. I would more so anticipate this to be a low high retracement solidification. Then maybe we have something fail, and then now I can take a position into the external low, and then that would be my move. I just think you're a bit early. I think you're a bit early here. Yep, cool.
To the boss, that's to the person that is in charge, boss of the person in charge. Then there's a draft. I think you should also still go in with the person that is in charge. Also, this is just like, if we say it's second, you know, they'll feel they have time.
Yeah.
Yo, I can't. Yo. Whoever that is, mute yourself, yo. Yo, come on, man. I thought he was trying to tell me something. I'm like, what is this guy saying? All right, but that concludes the. Yeah, but you can message me on Instagram if you want information on the book. I have a couple of DMs I need to get to today. I'll get to them after this call. Depends what kind of losing streak we're talking about. Depends what kind of losing streak. Like, you understand that next week we'll have another scenario, and the week after that we'll have another scenario. So just take a break. That's all you can do. Take a little break. Like, I get so much peace of mind knowing that next week we'll probably have another setup, and the week after that we'll probably have another setup. So I'm okay with not taking a trade for a week or two, even though I'm missing out on tons of scenarios. Like, yesterday I went back to Friday's price action, and there was two good scenarios here. Like, excuse me, right? Like there's two good scenarios here, right? Like for example, one, right, we have the LGC model potentially, right? And then we come back into an efficiency with my stop at a some type of solidified point to then pursue internal lows, sorry. And then after that, like there is liquidity being built up, relative equal lows, that is then swept, right? And then we have a transition confirming the sweep model, right? And then I took it based on the sell to buy here, right? And then this would be pursuing the external high or the internal high here, I'm sorry, right? So like, I didn't take any trades, but like, yo, like there's going to be another scenario tomorrow, the next day after that. Like no reason to trip. If I'm losing, just take a break. You know, to see what you're doing wrong. Exactly. Exactly. How do you manage doing backtesting? I mean, bro, I don't really like, if I miss a trading day, I'll backtest for the day, but I'm not going back and looking at price action to see what I could do. Like, I don't care for that, bro. We're too experienced for that. The point of backtesting is to know your rules, right? The point of stress testing and actually, you know, taking drills, taking some type of either demo execution, right, or live execution, right? The point of that is to enforce the rules, right? If you understand your rules, there's no reason to backtest, bro. Outside of for fun, right? But if you want to stress test, you want to take drills, okay, now you're enforcing the rules that have been reiterated in the backtest. That's where the real knowledge is. That's where you really figure shit out for yourself, you know? Like, the only reason you should backtest, bro, is either or the sole reason is to understand rules, whether it's directional, some type of structure rules, models, timing of the day, right? It has to be very specific every backtest session. But if you already understand what you're looking for, when you're looking for it, how you're looking for it, like just stress test. Stress test. Build the experience. 1, 2, 3. Unwillingness, it looks like this is externally bullish, so it looks like potential reaccumulation. I like that, not bad. I like this. Invalidation at the low. This one, yeah, exactly. Heavy bullish momentum, so kind of just wait for something else. Also, you guys know I don't, I'm not a fan of the very deep transitions. I'm very deep pullback, sorry. This is like old school stuff. This is like 2022, 2021. I used to never ever trade high retracements, right? Because I would kind of anticipate them to be kind of just LGs. But yeah, it also looks like this is externally bullish. So CBOS, continuation, but this did get confirmed, so there was a break. So I see why you're looking for the sell there. I just don't like the heavy momentum. Unfortunate on this one. Unfortunate on this one. I would have likely wanted the sell to buy to come back and be hit, but unfortunately just didn't get it. Is what it is, bro. Nothing you can do in this scenario here. Okay, any more questions? Any more case studies? If not, I do have to head out here soon. Is that an SD? I probably wouldn't even say it's OFD, right? Because there is no like internal reaction. I wouldn't say that. SD, I can't see why he's saying SD here, but if I'm looking at it, just depends on whether this is bearish or bearish or bullish, sorry. If this is bearish or bullish, then it will dictate whether I see this as an SD or a continuation break structure. I can't tell based on this picture. But there is an LG here, which signifies something, which once again, if we were bullish, that's an LGC. If we were bearish here, then it's an SD. Yeah, then it would be an SD. If this is bearish or it's coming from bearishness, then this is the SD. Yeah, any more questions, concerns, guys? I think it's been a good move that I've just been kind of giving everything out, right? The models, the direction, the management, whatever. I think it's working out, right? I like that you guys are bringing case studies. We have stuff to talk about. So why was that the SL? I think he just chose the SL because of the solidified low. But if I was him, you have to use the entire region, right? Because you just don't want to get wicked out before the invalidation and then get a move. Okay. Okay, a bit of a swing trade, okay. Very nice. This is very nice. I like the chart work here. Right, internally bearish, pullback, solidified, right? Sweep, transition, sweep model, and then you come back to the mitigation of that. So this is very good entry. Very, very good entry. But I will say I probably would have pursued this high. Internal transition, external target. Always. Just to guarantee the win. Like, I don't want to see this take liquidity, then have an LG, and then have a transition to the downside. But either way, very, very nice. Very, very nice. Because as long as you acknowledge that this is what is in play here. That's what's in play here. So this would be a internal transition, external target, right? And then this would be an internal transition, external target, right? Does that make sense? The internal transition, external target, does that make sense? Just a fractal thing. Yeah, yeah. Cool. All right, guys, I think we can wrap up today's call here. Then we can wrap up today's call here. Yeah, you got to be mindful of targets, bro, because the hard work is acquiring the bias and executing on the bias. That's the hard work. Right? The target, not necessarily easy, but a bit more straightforward. Internal target or internal model, external target. So you managed to. That's how you managed to. But I think you mean time with T. Yeah. Yeah, it's just about how you manage. Yep. I've never been I used to be a partials guy, but not anymore. Like, I'd rather just stay full volume and then guarantee profits by trailing stop. But yeah, other than that, thank you guys for hopping on. Thank you to the 14 people on the YouTube. Thank you guys for hopping on. And I'll see you guys next Friday. I'm gonna try to do these on Fridays, guys. I'm sorry I missed out yesterday. I was just life's been hectic, so I'll try to keep doing these on Fridays. If not, we could do these on Saturdays, no problem. But thank you guys for hopping on. I'll see you guys on the next one.